Today, we're going to get into a book that really turns our whole modern idea of love on its head. It's Erich Fromm's classic, The Art of Loving. And his big argument is that we've pretty much got it all backward. Love isn't some magical thing you just find, it's a skill you have to build.
So, let's just start with the big, central question Fromm is trying to answer. We all crave love, right? It's in all our songs, our movies, our daydreams. But if we want it so badly, why does it seem to fail more than almost anything else we try to do in life? What gives?
All right, so here's our roadmap for breaking down Fromm's thinking. We're going to look at why we fail, the real problem love is trying to solve, and how we need to start seeing it as a practice. Then, we'll dive into the 4 essential ingredients of love and wrap up by asking if it's even possible to love in the world we live in today.
Okay, first up, why do we get it so wrong? Fromm says it's not just bad luck or picking the wrong person. Nope, the problem is baked in from the very beginning. It's about some huge mistakes in how we even approach the whole idea of love.
And this right here is the absolute core of the problem. Most of us think love is like winning the lottery, right? You just have to get lucky and find the one. But Fromm says that's exactly where we go wrong. Love isn't a passive feeling you fall into. It's an art, a skill. And like any art, you have to work at it. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't pick up a guitar and expect to play a masterpiece without a single lesson. So why on earth do we expect to be masters of love without any practice?
Fromm points to 3 massive errors we all make. First off, we're totally obsessed with being loved. We spend all our energy trying to be attractive, funny, successful, all to make ourselves more lovable. But we barely spend any time thinking about our own capacity to give love. Second, we think the challenge is finding the right person, the right object, instead of developing the skill, the faculty of loving within ourselves. And finally, we mistake that insane, explosive feeling of falling in love for the real deal, which is the steady, conscious act of standing in love.
So, if our whole approach is flawed, what is the actual problem that love is supposed to fix? Well, Fromm says it goes so much deeper than just finding a partner. It hits at the absolute core of what it means to be human.
The real issue, he says, is something he calls separateness. It's that feeling, you know the one, that deep down, uniquely human awareness that you are fundamentally alone inside your own head. He says this feeling of being separate is an unbearable prison, and it's the true source of all our anxiety. Basically, everything we do is some kind of attempt to escape that prison.
And Fromm really puts it bluntly here. Our deepest, most powerful drive, the one that keeps our species going, is this desperate need to connect, to merge with another person, and to break out of that lonely cell.
So, the million-dollar question, how do we escape this prison? We try all sorts of things, right? We try to fit in with the crowd, we bury ourselves in work, we chase cheap thrills. But Fromm says the only real, lasting solution is mature love. And to get there, we have to stop waiting for it to happen and start treating it like a practice, like an art form.
Think about how you'd learn any other skill, like cooking or coding. First, you have to master the theory. You need to understand the basic principles. Second, you have to actually practice, day in and day out. It takes effort. And third, it has to become an ultimate concern. You have to decide that this is one of the most important things in your life. And Fromm's point is that we almost never commit to these 3 steps when it comes to love.
So this is the big shift in thinking. Love is something you do, not something that just happens to you. It's an active power you choose to use. It's about standing in love, consciously and consistently, not just falling for it in a moment of passion.
Okay, so if love is a practice, what are we actually supposed to be practicing? What does it look like day to day? Fromm breaks it down into 4 essential parts that all work together. You can't really have one without the others.
First up is care. And this isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's action. It's the work you put in to help someone or something grow. Fromm uses a simple example. If you say you love flowers, but you never water them, your words are empty. You don't really love them. Love and labor, he says, go hand in hand. Next is responsibility. Now, this isn't about duty or obligation, like you're being forced to do something. The word itself comes from being able to respond. It's about voluntarily choosing to be aware and responsive to another person's needs, even the needs they don't say out loud. Third, we have respect. The root of this word literally means to look at. It's about seeing a person for who they truly are, in all their unique glory, without trying to shape them into what you want them to be. Respect means you want them to grow and unfold for their own sake, not to serve you. It's the total opposite of using someone.
And finally, there's knowledge. We're not talking about knowing their favorite movie here. This is a much deeper kind of knowing. It's about getting past your own ego, your own projections, and trying to understand their reality from the inside. It's true empathy. And it's this kind of deep knowing that finally allows you to escape that prison of separateness.
So we've got the theory, we know the four elements, but now we come to the toughest, most challenging part of Fromm's whole argument. He looks around at our society and asks a pretty heavy question. Is it even possible to practice this art of loving in the world we've built for ourselves?
And his answer is, it's really, really hard. He argues that our entire culture actively works against love. We develop a marketing orientation where we treat ourselves like products to be sold on the personality market. We're so scared of being different that we become alienated automatons, just following the herd and losing touch with our real feelings. Our work and even our fun becomes so routine that we forget what we truly desire. And our idea of equality gets twisted into a bland sameness that erases the very spark and tension that genuine love needs to thrive.
And this quote just cuts right to the bone. It's brutal, but it really hits the nail on the head. In a world that treats relationships like a business deal, we're not actually loving. We're just exchanging our personality packages and hoping we get a fair trade.
And that leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. Fromm's whole definition of love is that it's primarily an act of giving, not of receiving. So if that's true, then in a world that is obsessed with transactions, with what we can get, maybe the simplest, most powerful, and most rebellious thing any of us can do is just to give. To give of ourselves freely, without expecting anything in return.